Hi, guys. Welcome to Question the Answer. We're back.
Chrissy's letting me know that she used to like Cheerios with peaches.
Not
like the canned peaches?
Yes. And if you drizzled like the juice over it, then it I don't know, it gave it like the milk and the peach juice flavor. I don't know. I used to like it. I mean, I also used to like Lucky Charms. And did you see that they now make a straight up...
Just marshmallow?
I know. Yeah. Have you tried it?
I haven't.
I feel like that's a lot of sugar, though.
Yeah. I bought Lucky... The only times I buy Lucky Charms is for St. Patrick's Day for the kids. And then I deeply regret it after they eat it.
I don't think an adult came up with that idea, though. That seems like a focus group of all kids just being like, oh, sugar in the milk.
We want just a marshmallow.
Just sugar.
Oh, yes.
I mean, as a parent, if you're picking that box up, you got to be ready for like the holy shit moments that are about to happen.
But look at half the cereal. I mean, I used to love Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
I mean, I still do.
Coated with sugar.
See, my problem with cereal, this is bad.
You can't stop.
I eat the whole box.
Correct.
And then the roof of my mouth is all raw.
Yes, it gets like torn up.
Why does cereal do that?
Captain Crunch.
Totally.
Raw mouth.
Why does it do that?
I don't know.
And there's a certain moment in a cereal eating bowl experience where it's the perfect amount of mush.
Yes.
There's a point that's too crunchy, and then there's a point where it's too mushy, but you get like at least like a 45-second like... This is perfect moment.
Yep. Oh, now I want a bowl of cereal.
All right.
Okay. Well,
what do you want to talk about today?
I have stuff. Yes.
Stuff.
I have just a couple small updates.
Like Kylie Jenner.
I'm really
realizing things.
Realizing a lot of things.
What have we realized since our last episode?
Well, I have one feel good story because I feel like
we never do
feel good and there's a lot of depressing things out there. Anyway, a feel-good story of the day. So there was a 13-year-old dog named Fiona who spent her whole life in animal shelters. She was finally adopted to her forever home by a Wisconsin couple who heard her story on the news. So this dog, Fiona, she was in shelters in Alabama for like 11 years of her life. And then she was brought over to a place called Albert's Dog Lounge in Wisconsin, where they take in dogs that they're either elderly or like going to be euthanized soon, and try to get them adopted. So there was a news story on this doggy, and this couple was like, felt so sad for it, and they wanted to adopt it, and now look at her, she's living her best life.
So I can relate to this story.
Yeah.
I worked at a shelter for 6 years of my life. It was one of the hardest emotionally and physical jobs I've ever had. It was always a good day and a win at a shelter when an elderly dog gets adopted. But I do have a couple of questions. Why was the dog continuously returned to the shelter? Because
I don't know.
That usually indicates a behavioral issue. Or the shelters, or...
I didn't think they kept dogs for that long.
So they normally don't, but I don't... When I went into the specific shelter I went into, it was not a no-kill shelter. It euthanized animals based off of volume level, unfortunately. By the time I left the shelter, they had done a really good job of not really euthanizing any animals, unless it was a major behavioral issue like a massive bite case.
Yeah.
Or if the dog was just so severely ill there was no treatment.
It's just sad.
They don't normally spend that long in shelters. What I think was happening was the dog was getting adopted and then returned, and then getting adopted and then returned, and then getting adopted and then returned. And I think what happens with a lot of at least what I've seen in my own experience, is that it's a social anxiety that builds in the dog. It's called separation anxiety. And it leads to a lot of behavioral issues in dogs. My best friend has one right now where it's it looks like a miniature retriever. I don't know what, it's like a mix of a dog, but has major separation anxiety because it was returned two or three times.
Yeah, think about that.
I mean, so
traumatizing.
The dog has to be on, antidepressants. It has to wear a diaper all the time because they just have this separation anxiety of being neglected and returned all the time. So there's always like underlining behavioral issues.
Yeah.
And it just, listen, there's no such thing as a bad animal, but there is a such thing as like bad ownership.
That's exactly what Dave Portnoy said.
Kind of like children,
This reminded me, you're not on social media, but no. I don't know if you know who Dave Portnoy is.
I do. He actually saved the business of one of my favorite yoga teachers in New York City. So
Yeah, I love this man. I think he's amazing. He does a lot for small businesses, especially during COVID. He kept a lot of businesses alive. He raises a lot of money for great causes. But on Instagram, so he recently, I think on Valentine's Day, adopted. It's sad that I am this invested in this story. I have no life, but he adopted a dog, a pit bull, from a shelter. He found this organization. Heard about her name's Miss Peaches, and she's the cutest thing. And she was it was a neglect situation and abuse. Like you could tell
So
she had
sad.
multiple litters and was abandoned, and just it was awful. But there's him and her on adoption day, and now literally he's like, she went from the doghouse to the penthouse. Like she is the Annie of dogs, because he obviously is like a multi-millionaire. Who knows how much money he has now, but she is living the high life.
Well,
And has more Instagram followers. She was like the fastest growing Instagram account in years. It
She
was
deserves
unreal.
it.
She has a million followers right now.
she earned it, that
You
dog.
did, Miss Peaches. We love you.
You know, the best thing in the shelter was when you knew an animal was going to a
Yeah.
good family. You could also tell when an animal was not going to not to a good family. I shouldn't say that because that's not fair, but you knew the dog was going to make its way back to the shelter in some way, shape, or form.
That's sad because you can't really do anything about it.
You can't. And the problem is that because we can't control our pet population, we've just failed at it everywhere. There's too many animals and not enough good owners, and therefore it's just a cycle. It's like this vicious cycle of in and out of the door. So,
Yeah.
you know, the shelters are in a tough position because they don't want to euthanize animals. They want to help and find them families. But once again, because the population is so out of control, like how do you do that? You have to make sacrifices on who you allow to take them. I remember at the shelter, we used to do free days, free pet adoption days. And we used to just be like, all right, hang on to your butts today, because who used to walk in the door to adopt animals was scary. And you can't be discriminatory in any way,
can't.
shape, or form. You know, that was very important. And you just had to hand over your favorite cat to like the woman with anyway, I don't want to get myself in trouble here or get us dinged on social media again, but it's you're a rock and a hard place as a shelter, and it's just a system that is, I guess, a broken system.
It is sad.
It's a little bit of a broken system.
But I love hearing success stories like that, because it's just, you want them to live their best life.
I mean, I have to admit, rescued animals are the sweetest animals in the world. Purebred animals are a little different. Not better, worse. They're just different.
yeah.
You know, a lot of shelter animals just really want to be loved by the people.
Oh, yeah.
You
I
know,
mean,
like
I
they
said,
just want people attention. That was always the thing I
It's-
noticed with shelter animals.
Yeah, they just want to be loved.
They just want love.
I know. Well, I'm one of the million followers of Miss Peaches, so
Of course you are.
I like literally never knew that was the love story I needed to have this year, but I love following it because it's like it makes me feel good. I see things of her and I'm like, oh, she's just having a great time.
She is cute.
She's so
She's a
cute.
cutie.
She's so cute. Anyway, that's our feel good story of the day.
What's your not feel good
It goes
story?
down very much downhill from here.
I mean, I noticed the next headline. That is not a feel good story.
It's not. And I don't think Planet Fitness is feeling too good right now.
Oh, you just text me this.
Well, because we talked about this on our last episode, the whole Planet Fitness bathroom debacle. And, you know, you welcome dumb things, you're going to receive dumb things. So,
No, I think it's you play stupid games, you get stupid prizes.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
both. Your Planet Fitness is dumb. So,
Just Planet Fitness?
well, in this case.
We'll just focus on
We'll
Planet
focus on
Fitness
Planet
today.
Fitness. Because on April 4th in North Carolina, in a Planet Fitness bathroom, a 38-year-old man named Christopher Miller, who is this wonderful looking person here, who identifies as a woman, was arrested for sexually harassing a 17-year-old girl in the bathroom. He apparently, allegedly, stormed into the bathroom, stripped down naked, and was showing people his dumbbell.
I'm not laughing because of the story. I just love that you call it a dumbbell.
And then he was asking the teen to rub lotion
He wishes it was a dumbbell.
and shower together while in the woman's locker room. So then I had to put this image from Silence of the Lambs.
What did we... Clarice.
It puts the lotion on its skin.
What did we think was going to happen when we started to blur this line?
Exactly.
So all the creepy men out there that just want to claim to be a woman who have no links to transgenderism,
No.
wants to...
You're opening that door for
Place-
pedophiles and for creepy people like this, because now Planet Fitness policy is whatever you self-identify as, you're welcome to use that bathroom. No one's checking or monitoring anything.
How do you check or
You
monitor
can't.
it? Let me see your transgender card.
Let me just look
I need
at
to
you.
call your therapist and confirm.
But now you got young kids. Like the other one, there was what, a 12-year-old girl in the bathroom?
So
witnessing.
what will happen with this?
So he was arrested and he's held on $25,000 bond, but
This is happening everywhere,
It's happening
though.
everywhere, and we let them go.
In women's spaces. This is happening in women's jails. This is happening in women's bathrooms. This is happening in women's sports. What did we think was going to happen when we decided to blur this line?
Well, you're starting to see it now.
Accept it or shut up. And now we have young women, once again, just uncomfortable in their own spaces. And I don't think this story will get the headlines that the last story got.
It's not. And this poor 17-year-old girl who's just trying to go work out and change in the locker room is getting harassed by this psychopath.
Isn't that funny how this went down?
Yeah. Right after the other
I wonder if
incident.
they'll change their handbook after this. I mean, really, what are they going to do now?
They got to swallow their pride and they got to fix something.
Will they
because-
fix it?
I don't know.
I guess
don't know.
what group of people are you more concerned about pissing off?
True.
What client base are you willing to lose over this?
Yeah.
You know, Jesse Waters just wrote a book. Have you heard about this?
No.
I forget the name of the book. We'll put a screenshot of it up for you. It's fascinating, his take on what he learned. So he sat down with like a whole bunch of activists and these people that, you know, claim that society is so out of control and we have to and he had to listen for hours and hours of these people talk. And he wanted to write a book on it. And his main point as he's pitching the book is that we have this small percentage of people that live in their house and communicate via social media and don't really ever go out into the real world. And they have these really strange views on things. And if you sit and listen to them, what you start to notice is that there is something wrong with these people mentally. There is something that is not normal about the way they think. And the problem is that they think that society is the problem and that all of society needs to change in order for them to feel more comfortable about their crazy ways of thinking.
Yeah,
rather
they're the
than
finger
them being able to acclimate into normal society. So we keep on addressing this small percentage of loud voices on all the things that society needs to do to change in order for them to
feel okay,
normalized.
yeah.
Now I get that. What is normal? But normal is not going into a child's locker room or a woman's locker room and flashing yourself to a child because all men can just say they're women.
Well, yes, and that's what's starting to happen.
I mean,
because we're too scared. Companies and businesses are too scared to make them feel like they're making them feel excluded. Because we got to cater to everybody's needs. This is not okay.
Well, they can cater to people's needs, but there was just that massive bombshell report that came out over this transgender ideology thing and what an absolute disaster it's been and the long-term effects. It increases the child's, if children go on these puberty blockers and if children go and get these mutilating surgeries, the long-lasting effects have proven that they are at a higher risk for cancer. What they have done is irreversible to their bodies and they end up with health issues for the rest of their life.
Who would have thought? How shocking.
Is it shocking?
How shocking is that?
You know, I think you and I agree on one mindset. Like, as an adult, choose to be whatever you want.
As an adult.
As an adult. But as a kid, they got to go through the pains of being a kid. And that includes not being comfortable with yourself. That includes being excluded in certain things.
That builds character, okay? How many times growing up did you picture yourself as doing this or being like this or dressing like that? I mean, you go through every couple of years, it's like a new I'm a new person.
Or I don't even know who I am.
Or you don't know who you are. But that's part of growing up because you're figuring it out. We're putting 5, 6, 7-year-olds on puberty blockers because the daughter said that she wants to be a race car driver and she wants to wear boy clothes. Like, are we okay? I put all the blame on the parents. All the blame.
Right.
It's
so
sickening.
I get that the definition of normal can be wide, but I may not be able to define what normal is, but I can define what not normal is.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but a lot of people can't, and that's what's scary.
So what did we think was going to happen when we were like, okay, everybody can just go anywhere and everywhere they want to and be whatever they want to be?
I feel like we've said it many times, but if we, especially with the bathroom situation, need to be inclusive to everybody, then create a separate bathroom.
Yeah, I don't mind. Just create a separate bathroom.
Create a separate bathroom.
I mean, it's a business. Yeah, you got to pay for it. But you know what?
It would solve a lot of issues, and it would keep negative press on your company from stuff like this.
Well, it's kind of like if you there's a food store that actually has like a family bathroom. It's kind of like the same thing. Like just make it a 1-stall bathroom, and it's just an all bathroom. There's nothing wrong with that.
No,
and I don't think
or if you're feeling fancy, make it a 2-staller.
A 2-staller. A twofer.
A twofer. I mean, come on. This is getting out of control.
I wonder if that woman in Alaska is like, see, I told you.
She's probably having a field day.
I wonder if they were like, okay, you can come back now.
Right? They re-invoked her.
Oh, if I was her, I'd be at like LA Fitness or a sport in a second.
Oh my God. Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how many more stories like this come out.
I mean, what did we think was going to happen?
Just wait. You get the wrong person's daughter or son, nighty-night.
And I hope the media doesn't spin it like they always do. I mean, I just...
Spin what? That this human being...
I don't know if the camera saw my face when you... Ugh. I love that there's one dread.
Hello.
Just...
This is the person that just was like... I'm a woman. Sir, you're terrifying.
Yeah. Well, all right. So hang on.
Way to go, Planet Fitness.
Here we go. All right. Let's we had a big event that happened. Well, first, actually there was like 2 big events. One I really don't care about, but one was kind of okay and cool. You know OJ Simpson died?
I did.
I'm so over it already.
Did.
And, Employee of the Month, Karine Jean-Pierre, had the nerve to go out there and send her sympathies to the family of O.J. Simpson. Not to Nicole. I always call her Nicole Kidman. What is the woman he allegedly, or I'm sorry, he was acquitted on, that he didn't kill but then wrote a book about killing her?
I did it.
And the guy that took returned her glasses to her. I mean, I'm already sick of it. I'm already sick of it. We're O.J. Simpson fatigued over here.
Where do we think O.J. is right now?
I don't know. Did he go up or down?
I think he took the elevator down. I think he took it down. But
the other, what are you trying to do?
I'm just trying to scroll down.
Let me help you a little bit.
Thank you. I don't have anything on.
You don't have anything on the moon landing, as I was calling it all week?
No.
Oh my God, you did a lot of research on the other topic.
Yeah.
So let's just talk about the moon landing, as I was calling it, because people at my work, they're like, are we closing down? Are we shut? I'm like, no. Why would we do that? Well, it's going to be like mass hysteria. We're right on I keep calling it the Sun Belt. I know all my terms.
Totality.
The line of totality.
I'm not going to lie. I mean, I was waiting for the aliens to come.
Okay. The hype of this reminded me of one of my favorite movies in the whole world. It's, the movie Contact, when the message from Vega came down. This is what I felt like the world went into.
Well, I saw the thing coming out of the sky. It had
that's hilarious.
And one big eye. I commenced to shaking and I said, ooh-wee. Looks like a purple people eater to me. It was a one-eyed, one-horned, blind purple people eater. One-eyed, one-horned, blind purple.
I mean, this was it. This was it.
I love the chorus. Like, Hail to Vega, Hail to Vega, Hail to Vega.
I want to be a spaceman. That's right.
Okay, is that not what the hype was like?
That was the hype. Places were selling Eclipse desserts, the glasses that you had
Bars.
to get, the parties. There were parks that were filled with people with bands and food trucks.
Bars had like special Eclipse drinks.
Yes.
And they even had like their own Jaeger, or not Jaegers, lagers. Lagers? Lagers.
Yeah, lagers.
Lagers? Beer. Okay, they had their own beer. That's what I felt like legit was happening.
It was, yes, there was so much hype around this event. Now, don't get me wrong. It was very cool to, here in Rochester, okay, we were in the line of totality.
The Sun Belt.
But being Rochester being who it is, decided to be one of the cloudiest days I've ever seen.
Always fails to deliver.
We had one job here and we failed. But I will say it was cool seeing how dark it got so fast. And then like you felt the temperature dropping and it really came on quick, I feel like. And then having it just become light again.
Okay, I admit it was cool for a total of 30 seconds, but people spent thousands of dollars to come to Rochester to New York.
Hotel rooms.
There have been signs placed all over the highways. Do not travel on this day.
Severe traffic.
Severe backup. You're going to get a full tank of gas. You're going to be stuck in traffic for hours and hours on end. Now, from someone who went to work that day, nobody was on the road. It was
dead.
I got to work in 2 minutes. I got home from work in 2 minutes. It was completely dead.
It was like
not to mention you couldn't see a damn thing in the sky because the clouds were so bad.
So bad. So I saw pictures obviously from other states and locations that had really cool images of the eclipse. I'm like, that would have been so awesome to see.
Yeah. Now, when we still were standing underneath clouds looking up, and it got pitch black. All like the street lights came on. It got really silent. Like it was
like the animals went quiet.
It was very cool. Don't get me wrong. It was cool. And then it was like someone was slowly undimming the light as it came back through. That was cool. Very, very cool. Very cool. My one daughter was
screaming, crying the whole time.
Yeah,
she was so panicked about it. And I was like, it's gonna be fine. I'm like, my kids, I don't want to go blind. I don't want to go blind. I'm like, you guys. First of all, no one's going blind here because it's the clouds.
When there's we can't see the sun.
But it was just like.
No, I could imagine that if you did have a view of the sun, that would have probably been pretty spectacular.
Oh,
but
yeah.
As all things in this world now, the humans have gotten involved, and our good old friends at CNN have gone ahead and just brought the fear out. So how to tell if you have eye damage after viewing the eclipse.
Oh, my God.
And let me just read one little paragraph because this is how CNN operates. Just all crap. You might be wondering if maybe your eclipse glasses were fake. Perhaps you forgot to slip them back on as the first of the sunlight reappeared after totality, or you noticed your child, friend, or family member looking up at the sun without putting on their glasses. Here we go. So did you know that the amount of Google searches for eye soreness after the eclipse has skyrocketed?
Stop.
And the amount of eye appointments being booked right now is through the roof because people now
are panicked about their eyesight.
Oh my God. Like we just can't enjoy anything in this world.
This is on another level.
I mean, it's a valid concern, guys, but most eye experts are saying, listen, if you got this thing that everyone thinks they have, which is like solar retinopathy, if you feel you probably already had it before the solar eclipse. Not to mention, we don't normally just stare at the sun. Like you're not.
Well, yes.
Or your glasses were fake. So I'm sure there'll be a lawsuit coming out somewhere down the road.
CNN was really like, okay, guys, we need to come up with some stories here. So, you're going to go find out about the fake glasses.
Yeah. So the whole world, or I should say a lot of the United States just got very much caught up on this. Hail to Vega.
My favorite memes were before the eclipse happened. And it's like, there was one of like Elmo or Jack Nicholson from The Shining. It's like me staring into the solar eclipse so I can file for disability tomorrow.
No, there was one that came out that was really funny after, and it was this woman, and it's got the picture of Rochester City in the background and all cloudy, and it says, "I want to speak to the manager who's ever in charge of this eclipse," because you couldn't see anything.
But you said it. People spent thousands of dollars looking for people. I saw posts online of people like, does anyone want to rent out a room in their house? Like, hotels were booked, Airbnbs were booked. People were
$600 a night to stay in Rochester,
what?
New York, for nothing.
Oh my God. Yes, but
People traveled hours to get here. I mean,
I know.
I had a lot of my staff took off, which I just was like, you want to take your PTO by all means. I walked into PT. I hope she never watches this. I walked into PT and this woman who always takes care of me, she's the nicest woman in the world. And I said, hey, how you doing? She's like, good. Because he was like, come in on the eclipse because nobody will be here.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, sure. Oh, that's fine. I'll come in. She checks me in and I was like, how you doing today? She's like, I'm good. And she's kind of got like, she's not in a good mood. And she's always really in a good mood and nice to me. And she said, how are you doing? I said, oh, I'm good. I'm like, not really getting a lot done today because my staff, half of them took off. And she looked at me like.
Oh, she wanted to have off.
And immediately I'm like picking up like, you're one of those. Like, you're one of the ones that wanted off. I'm like, oh, I was like, couldn't you have taken off? She's like, I should have off. And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, listen, I got to work all day too. I was like, I get it. I totally get it. And so I walk in the back and my PT is the owner. And I said, what was that about up there? And he goes, oh, you spoke to so-and-so. I said, yeah. I said, why does she have to like work or something? Was she not able to take off? He goes, she could take off.
I think she wanted she wanted a free day off.
He goes, he goes, I have staff members that want me to pay them to not be here. She could absolutely use her PTO. And I just looked at him. He's like, why? I go, no, you could tell she's a little upset about it.
I mean, yeah, all schools were closed. So that was fun.
Yeah.
That was real fun.
So the eclipse, it's here, it's gone.
It's cool to say that,
it happened.
It happened, and we saw some of it.
It's going to happen again in 20 years. It's not like once in a lifetime. No, this is not once in a lifetime. Every 7 years,
eclipses.
Every 7 years an eclipse happened. The one that was unique about this is because it was actually over land. It usually happens over ocean, so humans can't really see it. This one is once in a generation. They had to change it from once in a lifetime to once in a generation because it will happen again in 20 years over land somewhere.
Interesting.
Maybe not the exact, sun belt line of totality in the U.S., but it will happen over land in 20 years again. So it is a generational thing.
So God willing, we'll be here for that.
Unless you're only living for 20 years. So there you go.
Well, cool. If you were able to see a really good image of the eclipse, good for you.
I know. Yeah, I bet it was pretty cool.
Good for you.
Here in Rochester, not so much.
Nope. No reimbursements either.
No compensation for the cloud.
compensation.
It's like the airliners. We do not compensate over weather interruptions.
Oh God. All right. Well,
I used to love Nickelodeon.
Nickelodeon was where it was at.
You watched it, right?
Oh my God, I loved Nickelodeon. That was like Nickelodeon was the thing to do. I feel like you only watched Nickelodeon.
Well, when you were younger, it was like Mickey Mouse stuff, and then as you got older, like
you moved from the Disney Channel to Nickelodeon for like the young teen, shows.
I feel like that's all I would watch.
Correct.
And I think it was really like in our generation of growing
Keenan
up,
and Kel, all that,
like kid TV.
Yeah.
That's when it was born.
It was. It was
so
a big deal.
So this docu-series came out called Quiet on the Set. It was on a couple of different channels. You could watch it multiple places. It first was billed as a 4-part series and then turned into a 5-part series. I watched it once and then I watched several episodes twice just because the reason I did that is because there were some really horrible things that were put into this docuseries, but it wasn't, I think they could have gotten it all in one episode. I don't know if it was a 4-part series type thing. Like the bombshells that came out were honestly not very surprising. I just have one lingering question. What happened to Amanda Bynes?
Oh,
that was the episodes I watched multiple times because
I have TikTok videos of her.
That was fascinating to me.
She was like the it girl. Remember?
She was so talented.
And she was funny.
I mean, to have a kid do what she did
Yeah.
was incredible. And I used to love the movie she was in, but then she just like lost it.
Well, a lot of them have or did.
So this is the age-old question of like, if you're going to put your child in show business, what is the long-term effects here? And I can't think of one child star that is normal-ish from...
I mean, yeah, I feel like a lot of them, there are a lot in this documentary. They did ask Amanda Bynes to be in this documentary, and she declined.
She declined for the reason that she did not have the same experience as these other folks in the documentary.
I think she's so warped.
Why is she so warped, though?
I think things went down with her, and I don't know. What I read in one article that her parents really like weren't involved. Like they just wanted her to be the star and weren't monitoring a lot of things. And she became very close with this Dan Schneider man, which we'll talk about.
Mm-hmm. He's a good-looking feller, isn't he?
I mean, look. Look at that.
I mean, even as a child, how do you find that attractive?
Yeah, when they first showed an image of him, I was like, I'm sorry.
Right.
What?
Right.
This gorilla?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
kind of not what you would expect when people
No.
were fawning over him.
No.
So this docuseries detailed specifically Nickelodeon. It was all Nickelodeon.
Yeah.
I don't think it mentioned anything else. And it's basically showing the dark side of kids and show business.
Yeah, it focused on the alleged, which I think it's true, but sexual abuse, the sexism, because there was that one woman who was a writer and for years did the Amanda Show. I think she was on all that. And this Dan Schneider, who was a producer for a lot of these hit shows, wouldn't give her a raise. He kept hiring other younger men over her.
Yeah, so the docuseries really opens up with like the softer side of this docuseries, which is like these two women who were writers and the sexism that was involved, like the discriminatory acts that were done against them. Because A, they were female, and B, this guy, Dan Schneider, who was known as the golden boy of Nickelodeon, and he was like the kingmaker over at Nickelodeon. So you had to kind of like bow to him because he had the ability to make or break you, whether you were an actor or whether you were one of the writers. And he, you know, their claims were that he made the two women split a single salary, which is totally illegal. He would make them do various things that would, you know, talk about sex or, you know, there was this one where she had to bend over the table like she was being sodomized to tell a story. All in fun jokes to be entertaining to him.
He'd have people massage him all the time on sets.
So clearly not a stand-up individual, this Dan Schneider. But once again, when you allow someone to gain too much power, they become this kingmaker. And even the children felt it. The children...
They wanted to impress him. They wanted to...
Because he was going to make you a star.
Yeah, he held a lot of power there.
And if he didn't like you, you weren't going to be a star. So... It started off with kind of like the softer side, and then it opened up a little bit more into the Amanda Bynes story of like how she came on and how successful she was, and she was very close with Mr. Schneider. Once again, this very large individual.
This man.
And then it detailed more about the sexual harassment that went on, the sexism. I was a little bit surprised at some of the things that Ariana Grande had to do.
With like the potato, and she'd have to squeeze like...
The upside down pouring water on herself. Like,
it was very sexual. And once it got to those shows, I wasn't really watching... Like, I don't remember watching Ariana Grande.
There was about 2 or 3 scenes of her doing very... My question is like, there was still there was not a rule. I think there was a rule that like parents still had to be within a certain amount of vicinity of the kids. Whether that was followed or not, I don't know. But like, where's Ariana Grande's parents being like, my kid can't do that. No, thank you.
Correct. And well, I think what was happening too, because there was a couple other child actors that had the parents on set, and we'll get into the Drake Bell stuff, but and if some of the parents had spoken out, and then they were starting to get kind of casted out from the set and the crew.
Right.
But even just, and you think back, like, again, we grew up watching Nickelodeon, and I loved those shows. And I don't remember ever being like, oh, that's really weird that they're doing that on TV. I don't remember
I don't either.
feeling that way, which is kind of, I don't know. But
I don't either.
like this one young man, Leon Frierson, he used to be he was a character on All That. Young boy. Yeah, remember?
This is all that. I used to love that
was the
show.
best show.
Yeah.
But he was part of the cast, and he was explaining on this docuseries that he remembers there was an episode where he had to play a superhero. So
He had to be a fetus.
He had to be a fetus. He was in this costume with tights and this like leotard, superhero type costume, tights and underwear basically. However, they said they gave him a prosthetic nose, an enlarged nose, and they put the same nose on the costume. And he said, you can't help but notice that it looked like penis and testicles on my shoulders. And then there was a scene, I guess, that a clear white substance shot through his nose.
Mm-hmm.
Like just stuff like that. And he was saying, like, I was a young boy, like, and you're just doing what you're told, but it was uncomfortable.
And now his mother was actually the one that kind of stomped her feet the most.
She did.
And she believes, and I think he believes as well, that was the reason why he was let go one year.
Yep.
Because he was trying, and his point of view is like, I'm the only hope to get my family out of the poverty situation by being on this show. So when he was let go, and once again, because the mother was like, wait a minute.
Like, what are you doing with my son?
She was just asked too many questions according to, what they were saying. She was really the only parent that was like, what is going on here? This is weird.
Yeah.
One of the things I did have a major issue with was the All That Dares, which I don't necessarily remember. They had to put like scorpions in their mouth. They had to do like,
I don't remember
really questionable things. I don't remember watching it.
Yeah.
But they were showing in the docuseries all the dares that the kids had to do. So
yeah, it's just things that you're kind of like, how did that ever fly? Like, how was that ever approved and allowed by a bunch of groups? Parents, the writers, the producers, like everyone was like, yeah, this is great.
My biggest issue with the docuseries was they just didn't have a lot of the people. There was only a few people being interviewed, and listen, we have reviewed docuseries on this podcast. We have looked at documentaries. When you are putting something out on TV, it is to put out a specific message, whether it is accurate or not. I don't know what is accurate from this docuseries, except the sexual abuse that was actually charged against certain people, and people went to prison.
That was probably the biggest story on this.
But everything else seems very like I don't know. Like there was something missing from this docuseries, other than the fact that there was some sexual abuse happening because they were hiring predators.
Yeah, there were multiple people working on sets, either as a production manager or like a vocalist coach or whatever you want to call them, that have been arrested and were charged with things. There was a guy, John Handy, he was a production assistant, and he got close with a child star. Her name was Brandy. Her mom was on the
this is the young girl who got the naked picture sent to her.
Yeah, it was a video of him masturbating, I believe, and because he wanted to let her know that he was thinking of her. Mm-hmm. What? And then, come to find out, in 2003, the police searched his home. They found over 10,000 images of children, almost 2,000 images of young girls in erotic poses, 238 images of young girls in sexually explicit poses, and a bunch of other things.
I mean, are we here to say that we don't understand that that's how this industry works? And you're shocked if you put your kid into it and they're exposed? I mean, look at the adult actors. Adult actors have problems dealing with this type of sexualization. Yeah, sexualization's everywhere.
Harvey
Weinstein.
It's everywhere. That's why, at this point, it's almost like you just expect that Hollywood is just filled with pedophiles filth. And filth and vile people.
I mean, look at who are the most popular actresses, the most beautiful ones, the ones that wear the less freaking clothes. Same thing with male actors. Who are the most popular? The really good-looking guys with the big muscles. It's all sexualization.
Everywhere.
And to act like it doesn't happen in the kid portion of it, you're out of your mind. Now, hopefully they have I would hope that out of this would come like better regulations. And if you have parents wanting to pimp out your kid, that in itself is a separate problem. But obviously this industry is just riddled with these issues, and it's all sexualization.
Yeah.
And to sit here and act like it's surprising, to me, that's what I was like, okay, like we already know all of this.
I mean, it's like if you have a child that's talented, that wants to be a child actor, and you're deciding to allow that and put your kid in that kind of environment, it's like you better be the biggest helicopter parent there is, because you can't trust anybody. You can't.
And shame on the parents that did trust.
Right.
Because one of the worst things that came out of the documentary is the picture you have up right now of Drake Bell.
Oh, I felt terrible. It was hard to watch him talk about it. I felt terrible for him.
I did too. But I feel like he needed to tell his side of the story. I felt like this really could have been like a documentary on him, because I believe this was the worst thing that came out. One of the worst things. There were like 3 to 4 bad things that came out. Everything else to me was like, yeah, we already know all these things.
Well, and like you said, I feel like the biggest stories are people that didn't agree to be in the docuseries. So those stories aren't told.
Right.
You know?
Now, there is one woman who's very upset about not being it, but we'll play that later. But Drake Bell was sexually abused by, I believe it was Brian Peck.
Yes.
Brian Peck was one of the associate producers and was very much in charge of the children.
Mm-hmm. And apparently everyone loved him. Like, he was very much well-liked, big personality, friendly. And Drake Bell, again, he got this reoccurring role on the Amanda Show, I think is where he started. And this Brian Peck got very close with him. And at the time, Drake Bell's manager was his dad, Joe Bell. And Joe Bell speaks on this docuseries saying he always had a weird feeling about this Peck guy, because he would notice, like, if he was running lines with his son, Drake, he'd get very close with him. He'd be touching him or like running his hand down his arm, and he just felt he had this feeling. And at one point, Mr. Bell did go talk to one of the, I think, producers, and they basically said, Brian Peck, he's gay. I think you're homophobic, and kind of like shoot him away. Didn't address anything, and then next thing you know, they kind of pushed him out, and this Brian Peck got into Drake Bell's ear, say, like, your dad's taking money from you, like, he's not good for you, blah, blah, blah. And then the dad wasn't the manager anymore. And now he's kind of left to the hands of this Brian Peck, who I think at the time he felt very close with and, like, looked up to him as, like, a mentor.
Well, he had been groomed at that point in time.
Because when you get them at a young enough age, they're very much influenced. And he became close with this Brian Peck. He would stay at his house. On the docuseries, Drake says there was one time he slept there on the couch. He said, like he normally does. He woke up to basically being molested by this man. And then it just got deeper and deeper into this awful.
The crazier thing is that I believe this Brian Peck only did 16 months in prison for this. Mm-hmm. I found that more shocking than anything, is that you're touching a child in an inappropriate way and you spend 16 months in prison, and they think that's going to fix the guy?
Not just touching him. He was making him do terrible things. Terrible, like more than a worst nightmare for anybody or any parent. Like straight acts from hell is what he had to go through. And this guy, this creep, he's now registered as a sex offender, but big deal. He should still be in prison.
I mean, compared to what he did, he literally got a slap.
Permanently damaged this person.
I mean, that's a slap on the wrist. 16 months in prison, and you'll come out clean and all fixed. I mean, these people always reoffend.
Drake Bell was, I think 13 at the time when all this started, and I think it went on for some time. Since then, he has dealt with depression. I think he was into alcohol and drugs.
Oh, he was messed up.
He was very messed up.
And then he tried it.
Yes.
On a young kid. And he unfortunately ended up in some charges of his own.
Yes. Just mentally.
And he admitted, I deserved what I got. I did the time for what I got. I don't think there was any physical.
Yeah, I don't think.
They didn't really get into it too much, to be honest with you, but he was taking some type of responsibility for something. I don't know what it was, and I don't know if it was enough taking responsibility of, but there was a lot of like trickle down effect that happened from this molestation when he was young.
It's just so sad because he's going to forever, for the rest of his life. Yes, he's getting help. He's trying to, get on the right path, but like you are forever traumatized. You're never going to move on from that.
There's a disassociation with your body that happens.
And like, so to your point of this Peck man only going away for 16 months, this is what he was arrested on. 11 charges of child sexual abuse, including forcible penetration, oral copulation, sodomy, using a foreign object, employment of minor for pornography related to a child actor. And then he only gets very short, minimal time.
Well, what happened in the courtroom was completely unacceptable.
Did you see all the people who were there supporting him?
All the famous people supporting this child molester.
Mm-hmm. Big celebrities. Like one of them was who I didn't know this until this documentary. So when Brian Peck, because he was well liked, a lot of people liked him. When he was arrested, he had to go to court. There were 41 letters sent to the judge in Peck's defense. Mm-hmm. And some of these letters include James Marsden, who is a big actor. He said something like, what Brian has been through is the suffering of 100 men. What the hell does that mean?
Well, he probably thought he was being falsely accused, but
Alan
he was
Thicke,
convicted.
Ryder Strong. There was a bunch of celebrities that were in this courtroom supporting Brian Peck.
I can't imagine if you were the kid that got molested and you're in that courtroom and your side is empty.
He said it was just his mom and his brother, I think.
You did nothing wrong, and you're the one that's going to pay the price for this your whole life. And then you look at the other side of the courtroom,
and you got these
at your predator and all these people supporting them.
I thought he said in the docuseries when Drake Bell was in the courtroom, he said he's addressed Peck's side of all these people, and he said, you will forever have the memory of sitting in this courtroom and defending this person, and I will forever have the memory of the person you're defending violating me and doing unspeakable acts and crimes, and that's what I'll remember.
Yeah, that's true.
Can you imagine?
No. Mm-mm. Well, once again, nothing surprising came out of this docuseries.
Just stuff that's really messed up.
I mean, you have a picture of Amanda Bynes before. I mean, she was such a beautiful young girl.
Look how cute she was.
She actually got facial reconstruction surgery to change what she looked like. Now, I have no proof of this, and I did not have time to look it up. So I heard that she actually got an abortion very young.
Oh.
And that's what kind of messed her up. I've heard it once in my life.
Who knows? I mean, there's even stuff when she was with this Dan Schneider. Did you see where she was in the hot tub with him? Mm-hmm. Was it for a skit? I don't know what the hell they were doing, but it was very uncomfortable.
Well, the reason why Amanda Bynes kind of went off the deep end was, I guess, as she's rising to the top and doing movies now and all these other things, and she's getting older and developing more, she started dating this older guy, and that was not disclosed, the name of that at all, who this older guy was. And her parents didn't want her dating this person. And so they basically, when you tell someone who's a star and's been told yes and how amazing they are their whole life, when you tell them no, they kind of get upset and do things like I don't know. There was a huge fight between her and her parents, and Dan Schneider ended up getting involved, and she was looking to separate legally from her parents.
Oh, yeah. Didn't she do it?
No, they ended up losing the case, and Dan Schneider was the one helping her do this. And after that, it all crumbled. That's when Dan Schneider's takedown started, was when he got involved with Amanda Bynes in this very public
and they
court
were very
case.
Close. They were very close.
Right, of her being emancipated from her parents. And that kind of ended everything with Amanda Bynes, Dan Schneider. I mean, he tried to get back into the show business, but nobody wanted him back. And it was a very vague story. It was not detailed who this relationship was with. It wasn't detailed what happened during this relationship. It doesn't detail what happened, how the relationship ended up. It was very weird.
Know. And it's the whole Dan Schneider thing too, because Nickelodeon had made a statement like we investigate all these sorts of things.
I mean, they have to.
They never found anything as far as sexual abuse, I don't believe, about Dan Schneider. He wasn't in the docuseries. He didn't want to speak, but he did make a comment. Yeah, he didn't want to show his face.
Well, because it's about
his
him.
gigantic face. He just basically was saying, everything that happened on the show was carefully run by and scrutinized by all these adults, had to be approved. It wasn't just like, he just was writing scripts and it was going, he's like, they had to all get approval by caregivers and parents and production and all of that. So basically he's saying, this wasn't me.
So 5 build docuseries. Once again, nothing in it shocked me. This person's upset. Her name's Raquel LeBeau. Raquel Lee Below. She's very upset. She be pissed.
Who's this?
She was on the Amanda Show. And this is her little...
I'm done. Last night, the quiet on set producers or the team had a huge discussion. Everybody was gonna, I guess, come together to talk about the documentary. Do you think they invited me? Do you think that they even thought about inviting me to this type of discussion?
Can't imagine why.
And let me tell you what my problem is with this industry.
You don't
Quiet
say.
on set. They did the same thing that the industry always does. They get what they want from you, and then they're done. Never did they think that I would want to be at a discussion like that or a part of a discussion like that. Like, really? This has actually been a very, very difficult thing for me to face. This is what has happened in my career over and over again. This industry has done nothing but hurt me left and right from since I was a child. Okay? It is what it is. And I'm tired. I'm tired
Is she
of
in the
people
industry?
in this
Oh, no.
industry. I don't care for an audition. I don't care to be on nobody's set. I don't care for nobody to recognize me for the work that I've done quiet on set. First of all, you don't even tell me what type of documentary that I'm going to be a part of. You never question whether or not this is going to be triggering for me. Okay? That's number one.
She must have been in
Number
the documentary.
2, it comes out and you tell me, oh, you're going to be in episodes number 1 and number 4. And then you call me the day that the 5th episode is about to come out and you say, hey, by the way, just to let you know, you're also in the 5th episode. But you forgot to say, oh, and we're also going to be having a panel discussion to talk about where you are today and how we can move forward. You want me to share my story, but you don't want to involve me in the actual narrative of change? No.
Yeah, it's kind of
I
messed
can't
up.
do it anymore.
That's
I've
messed up.
given it all I can. I don't have nothing else. The show, I don't want to talk about it. I'm going to get back to my family, my businesses. That's what I'm focused on. Because this industry, y'all can have it.
Mic drop.
I mean, that is messed up. If she was in the documentary and they're not even having her speak on it, I get it.
Well,
But here's the thing. You got platforms now like Instagram, TikTok, where you can share as much information. Well,
why do we hold these people up so high? This like Hollywood show business. She said it perfectly. This industry takes what it needs.
Yeah.
It shows a very specific picture, and then it leaves the rest of the fallout for the news articles and the people like us talking about it. And, that's exactly what this industry is. And people need to start seeing that. These superstars.
we glorify them.
And these people that put these shows on and they're just human beings. Like, we need to stop glorifying
Yeah.
this damn Hollywood setup
It really is.
and just
Gross.
understand it is what it is. It's an absolute, it's there for entertainment.
It's, yes.
Good entertainment, bad entertainment. They said bad publicity is still publicity.
It is.
So
They're people. And just like us, just like, when you see People magazine, it's like, oh, look, they're shopping in the grocery store, just like you.
just like us. Could you imagine
Just like you.
humans being humans?
Oh my goodness.
I mean, think about what Hollywood people do. They're pretending to be you're playing pretend forever. I mean,
Forever.
that's what you
Correct.
do. You play pretend. And the fact that we think that like these people are better or more clued into the world or they should be telling us how to live our lives, it's not right and it's not reality.
I think if anything, which there is, I'm sure there's so much of this stuff going on every single second of the day in Hollywood.
Of course
But it's
there
like,
is.
just my hope is that it just keeps all coming out. Like
Yeah.
I feel like your time will come.
Yeah.
If you're messed up like that and you're doing nasty things, You just wait.
I mean, the most real moment that we've seen in a long time is when Chris Rock got the shit slapped out of him by Will Smith.
Yes.
That was a real moment.
That was a real moment.
And everyone was left in awe over that one. So
The slap heard across the world.
the industry is what it is. It's all pretend. It is all entertainment.
And it's not it's a place, back then you would think, oh, these celebrities. Like, I remember thinking that, being like, oh, I wish I could be them, blah, blah, blah. And now I'm like,
no thanks.
I couldn't be farther away. I wouldn't, not that I, no one's calling me.
You could have a
Doing
heart
it.
tattoo on your cheek,
I
like
could.
Amanda Bynes.
I could. But
All right.
I think it's just a nasty swimming pool.
Okay. All right, guys. So we'll leave it there. Thanks so much for listening.
Bye.
Go check out the docuseries.
Yeah, Quiet on Set. I think
It's-
HBO Max.
ID. I mean,
yeah.
it's all over right
Yeah.
now. So
Go watch it.
go watch it and come up with your own opinion on it. All right, guys.
Bye.
Bye.